The pearl of our pilgrimage, I believe, to Japan is the site of the Marian apparition at Akita, which took place 50 years ago to Sister Agnes Sasagawa from 1973 to 1981. The messages that were approved by Bishop Ito are even more relevant today. On Monday, April 17th, we had the possibility of a small group of us being able to visit Sister Agnes. We had heard that Sister Agnes might be living in a care home in Kumamoto, Japan. Myself and 2 companions, along with a guide, set out on a mission to see if we could find Sister Agnes Sasagawa. The last time anyone from outside of Japan had spoken to Sister in person was in 2015, and before that in 1990, when she was given permission to speak about the miraculous events at Akita. We were not sure if the information about her location was accurate and if we would even be allowed to meet with her. We decided we would go unannounced and take our chances. After a long journey by streetcar and walking several miles along narrow streets and through many neighborhoods, we eventually came to the care home where we believed Sister was living. It was in the afternoon around 2 p.m. when we arrived. Upon entering the facility, we were greeted kindly by the staff, and we asked if Sister Agnes Sasagawa was living there and if we could meet with her. They responded yes to both of our questions, but they thought Sister might be napping, which might be a problem. One of the staff went and checked, and thanks be to God, Sister was awake and able to meet with us. Sad to say, the COVID craze is even worse in Japan even to this day, compared to the U.S. in general. And just like care facilities here in the States during the height of the propagandemic, one can only meet with the residents through an iPad. Of course, COVID and the vaccine, which are being used for social engineering and to control society, are all part of the bigger picture of the Masonic New World Order. So as you can see, we are forced to speaking to Sister on an iPad. We asked if we could just stay at the door of her room and speak to her from there, but the staff refused. We were not sure in what condition Sister would be in, as her health has never been very good her whole life, and she was very ill back in 2018 and almost choked to death due to swelling in her throat. Sister was healed in a very miraculous way in September 2018 in an event that was witnessed by 5 people and the priest who anointed her. Sister Teresa Masuda, who witnessed the event, wrote in a letter, "Last year the sister was almost dying from getting food stuck in her throat on the day before I was leaving for Rome. The doctor who rushed to the spot at that time told me, if I came 1 minute later, you would have to hold a vigil tonight for the departed. Fortunately, my nephew happened to be near Sister, so that he could push her pit of the stomach hard enough to let her spit out the stuck food, though she seemed to suffer a cracked rib. Especially in July and August this year, she was in such a state of health as often saying, 'My throat hurts, my throat hurts.' Then early in September, she could no longer drink water, so that she wanted to have smoothly swallowable things, such as pudding-like or jellied food, saying, 'I have offered a lot to God so far, but now I wonder if my last offering might be my voice.' Then on September 22nd, when we went to see Father McKay, there were 5 persons together, including us. The Father anointed us one by one. When Sister's turn came, 2 of us placed their hands on her shoulder and arms, while I placed my hands on her head, and we all prayed for her. When the Father was praying with his hand on her throat, his hand suddenly began to shake violently. It seemed not only his hand, but his whole body itself was trembling. Then the Father said twice, 'Go away, the evil spirits of disease.' He prayed for 3 minutes, more or less, as far as I remember. Immediately after his prayer, the Father said, 'You will soon be comfortable, because the 2 evil spirits that were afflicting you are now gone.' No sooner had he said this than the sister's throat became so easy that she spoke. 'May I drink water?' When a person at her side handed her a glass of water, she gulped it down and said joyfully, 'Now I can drink water.' On September 25th, Sister went to the municipal hospital at 9 o'clock in the morning to see a doctor for examination at the ear, nose, and throat department. Having been examined with endoscopic, ultrasonic, and other various apparatus, she was then told that although there had been a tumor as large as a 1 yen coin in the throat causing her pain, it's now clean, and that I will report this to Dr. Ida later. On the afternoon of the same day, Dr. Ida made a house call on the sister to ask, "How was it that the mass has gone away? Did you swallow it?" Then she replied to him, "It's gone in an instant." She told me later that the doctor seemed to be deeply impressed with the happening. Sister Agnes has been the recipient of several miraculous physical healings during her long life. Back in 1973, she suffered from a mysterious deafness, which did not prevent her from hearing her guardian angel and Our Lady. Our Lady predicted when this deafness would come and go, and when Sister Agnes would eventually be healed of it permanently in 1982. As you can see, the sister was alert and attentive. Being in a care home and being isolated like so many are in such places, even more with the COVID restrictions, it is a wonder that she is doing as well as she is. I am sure that the contemplative soul she is, with praying at one time in her life 20 to 30 rosaries a day, may find the isolation and quiet to her benefit. Just a humorous note about that. There were so many questions I wanted to ask her, one of which was, how many rosaries does she pray every day? The Franciscan Brother of Peace, Brother Didicus, who speaks Japanese, translated for me. Sister Agnes responded that she prays the rosary 3 times a day. I responded, only 3? That's how many rosaries did she pray?
Yeah, 3 times a day.
She only prays 3 rosaries?
Yeah, she said 3 times a day.
She prays 3 times, but how many rosaries does she pray every day?
Yeah, rosary.
She's my rosary
3 times?
and my medal.
The whole rosary, yeah.
I guess I should cut poor sister some slack, as she will be 93 on May 28th of this year. 93 and only 3 rosaries a day. I hope, if I am 93, that I can remember one Hail Mary. I also, on behalf of a friend, wanted some clarification about her message of October 13th, 1973, when Sister Agnes was told by Our Lady, "As I told you, if people do not repent and better themselves, the Father will inflict a terrible punishment on all humanity. It will be a punishment greater than the flood, such as one will never have seen before. Fire will fall from the sky and will wipe out a great part of humanity, the good as well as the bad, sparing neither priests nor faithful. The survivors will find themselves so desolate that they will envy the dead. The only arms which will remain for you will be the rosary and the sign left by my son." My friend and I wanted to know from Sister if the sign left by my son might be the brown scapular of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. Did you ask her that in the message of Akita, the sign left by her son, could that be interpreted as being the scapular of Our Lady of Mount Carmel? That's what she could answer that.
I have to translate.
You don't want to say that?
No, I can't.
秋田のね、マリア様のお告げ。
Sad to say, none of those who spoke Japanese knew the Japanese for this, and my efforts were thwarted. We asked Sister to pray for our Seibo Maria mission to Japan to evangelize the Japanese people. Can you just say to her that we ask her to pray for the mission, our success of our mission to evangelize Japan?
はい、彼女にね、この人たちは日本の聖地。
Brother Didicus presented her with a handmade rosary that one of his fellow friars made for her. She commented on how big it was, which brought a laugh to all. After only about 15 minutes, the staff said we had to end our conversation, and we parted with some sadness for not being able to ask a blessed soul some important questions, but happy to be able to be in the presence of a living saint. Please pray for Sister Agnes. If Our Lady wills that Sister has still more to say to the world before she goes to eternity, that she will be given the opportunity to do so, speaking once again as a modern-day prophet. Back in 2015, she stated that since the events of 1973, she has prayed that people would learn Mary's message. This does not sound like a person who is seeking silence and solitude. The message of Akita is so relevant for our times, and one would think Sister has much more to say. Her words giving further clarity and understanding would be a source of hope and great benefit to souls. Ave Maria.